All right, if the right tackle is Tom Brady's LFG player of the game, I'm guessing the offense had a pretty good day in this one. And yeah, Detroit goes for 184 yards on the ground, 492 total yards, and that's on a day where they pulled the starters and stopped trying with a lot of ball game left in this thing. Let's dive into it. Let's go another layer deeper on Lions 47, Cowboys 9 with our guy, Fox Sports' own Ralph Vacchiano. Ralph, here's my stat for you, man. 3 home games for the Cowboys this year. They are allowing an average of 216 rushing yards per game at AT&T Stadium this season. I mean, there's a lot of places you could talk about what the Cowboys are doing wrong, but that seems like the place to start for me.
Yeah, it's terrible. I don't want to discount what they did today. I know their defense was really banged up, and that's a huge problem. And you go in there without Parsons, without Demarcus Lawrence and Eric Kendricks and Deron Bland, and it just you've taken so many key players away. But this is really not a today problem. This is a season-long problem for them. It's a season-long problem at home for them, and it's one that again, like so many of their issues, we knew heading into the season that they were unable to stop the run. They weren't a good defense up front. They weren't a physical defense, which you need. And look, you just saw a really good physical team in the Detroit Lions that shows you all the things you need to be a good team in this league. And again, this is a game that got away from everybody. And I get it. You don't want to put too much into it, but the way they played the game is the way you thought the Cowboys should be able to play the game. And certainly they're not capable of it. And if they can't do it at home, which, obviously they're 0-3, which has got to be stunning to them. I don't know how this season gets turned around. Usually you turn it around at home.
Well, they get their bye week to sort things out. I mean, we'll see what happens. We won't have to wait long to find out what's going on with the Cowboys, because coming out of the bye week, they play San Francisco, a team that they haven't been able to get past when they've been at their best. So I'm very curious to see how that one goes for them in a couple of weeks. But I mean, the run defense is part of it, obviously. But then on the other side, it really feels as simple as the Cowboys just can't do anything on the lines. I mean, 53 rushing yards, 3 yards per carry. The run game, with the exception of that win in Pittsburgh last week, has been non-existent for the Cowboys. It doesn't matter if it's Zeke Elliott. It doesn't matter if it's Rico Dowdle. And without a run game, Dak Prescott had nowhere to go with the ball. 2 ugly interceptions in this game. It feels all bad. And for me, it starts with the inability to do anything on either side of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, the line was terrible. And again, you could certainly, I'm sure they would make I don't know if they would use it as an excuse, but people might say, well, the game got out of hand. They weren't trying to run. The Detroit Lions could pin the pass rush and just go after Dak Prescott. And all that is true. But this was happening in the first quarter before the game got out of hand. And again, it's been happening all season long. The offensive line has not been what it once was, which I think after losing a couple of pieces in the offseason, we all kind of knew there might be some struggles. The running game, which we all harped on when they didn't sign a running back in the offseason, has been absolutely atrocious. If you can't run the ball and you can't protect your quarterback, well, there goes your offense. Because what happens is exactly what we saw, that it's all now on Dak Prescott, who, by the way, really only has one viable receiver to throw to in CeeDee Lamb. And the defenses can just sit back, wait for him to throw, kind of have an idea of where he's going. You saw it even especially on the interception in the end zone, because at that point, there was no way that the Cowboys were going to be able to run in the red zone. Everyone knew it, so they dropped everybody back into coverage. And of course, there was somebody there to, Brian Branch made a great diving play to, pick off the pass. But of course, there was somebody there to get in the way of the touchdown pass, because they knew it was coming and they knew that the Cowboys couldn't do anything else. You saw it on the 4th and 2 they went for from their own 38 late in the first half. Everybody knew they couldn't run. It's just the way the Cowboys are. And that's going to be a problem all year long. If you can't run, you can't pick up the good short yardage, the tough short yardage. You can't score in the red zone. It all comes back to that offensive line, that running game. And, it makes it really just a complete one-dimensional mess.
Jerry Jones was quoted after the game as saying he's not ready to talk about any sorts of personnel changes. Obviously, with Mike McCarthy being in the last year of his deal, that speculation is going to follow them all year. Maybe this will age poorly. I don't see Jerry Jones doing something like that so early in the season, especially when you have the bye week to tinker and try to sort things out. Honestly, Ralph, I'm kind of over talking about the Cowboys right now. Like I know they're the Cowboys, but after a performance like that, I do want to make sure we give this Lions team the proper degree of shine. I mean, you look at the totality of this season so far. The Lions doubled up Tampa Bay and went 1 of 7 in the red zone the day they lost to the Buccaneers. If not for that, it's incredibly easy to imagine this as an undefeated team. Jared Goff with a passer rating of above 150 for back-to-back weeks. We thought of the Lions as a contender. It sucks for them. It looks like they lost Aiden Hutchinson for quite a while in this game. But other than that, one very big caveat, there's not a long list of teams in the NFL you feel better about than the Detroit Lions.
No, I agree, and we'll get to Hutchinson in a second, but there's so much to like about this Lions team. They were really underperforming on defense. I think that their defense, I think their secondary has a lot of talent in it. I think obviously with Hutchinson, their pass rush has a lot of talent there. They weren't really showing how good they could be on defense. On offense, they certainly were. I mean, this is a team that now has put up 40 points in back-to-back weeks. They put up more than 450 yards in 2 of their 5 games this season. And, they do it in so many ways. Amon-Ra St. Brown was barely in this game. I mean, he had, I think, 4 catches total, and they still put up all those yards and all those points because they have, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs and, so many, Jameson Williams and Tim Patrick comes out of nowhere. And they just have so many things that they do so well, so many guys that they can rely on. And, as Tom Brady said over and over during the broadcast, probably the best offensive line in football to make it all go. So on offense, they're tremendous. I do worry about their defense. It was middling in the stats, and now losing one of the best pass rushers in the league is a bit of a problem, I think. Obviously, we don't know for sure what's going on with Aiden Hutchinson. It certainly looked like a long-term injury for him. That's a big blow for the Detroit Lions, but there's still a lot of good players there and just a terrific coach in Dan Campbell. They built one of the deepest teams, I think, in the entire league.
Terrific coach in Dan Campbell, terrific offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson, which it's an upset he's still there. Maybe he just wants to be there forever, but you've got to believe this will be the year that launches him into a head coaching job with the way this offense is once again playing. Yeah, Jameson Williams led the Lions in receiving, and I think when you consider the 2 running backs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, Jameson Williams is probably your 4th or 5th option in this offense, and he's capable of leading the team in receiving and having these types of explosive plays. This is a tough team to slow down, and this is not the preview episode for week 7, so we don't have to get into it right now. But up next, it's the Minnesota Vikings, the undefeated Minnesota Vikings coming off of a bye week. So just go ahead and circle that one right now as one of the games to watch for next week.